Hello, I'm Brian Bazemore with Community Bank of Dublin-Lawrence County. We've been in business for over 12 years here in the Dublin market, and we would like to invite you to come by and experience a new way of banking. We have the state-of-the-art teller pods, fast, friendly personnel, and we have same-day loan approval. Lenders are on site to be able to help with all of your financial needs. Come by today and experience a new way of banking. Community Bank of Dublin-Lawrence County, 605 Bellevue Avenue, Dublin.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Real Talk here on TV 35. I'm your host, Pat Brock, and it's a very special occasion. Father's Day is coming up, and we've got some fantastic fathers in our community, and they're going to share about life, sometimes the challenges, and of course, the highs of being dads. And we've got some dads who kind of have just started a little bit. We've got Owen Bailey. How are you, Owen?
I'm good. How are you doing, Pat?
Doing well. Good to see you. Dr. Barden, you've been on this trip for a long time. How are you?
Been a while, so I'm doing good.
Doing very well. All right, now listen, we want you guys to kind of talk to us a little bit about yourselves, and we want you to share about fatherhood. So this show is going to be very, very relaxed, you know, because we want people out there to understand that there's so many different fathers, and there's some who are not fathers, who are planning to be, new ones like yourself, Owen, and old hats at it, Dr. Barton. So start with us, Owen.
You know, I had high expectations, thinking that needed to be perfect, and I'm learning quickly that you just have to love your child and see your child love you back, and that's really what it's all about.
Now share with us about your family. We want to know about your wife. You two are a little bit over newlywed status, right?
We are. My wife's name is Katie. We've been together for a while, since the 5th grade, and then some. We've been married for about 3.5 years now, and our little boy was born on March 14th of this year.
Not so long ago.
Not so long ago. We just moved to Dublin.
Well, welcome to Dublin.
Thank you.
And what are you doing here in Dublin?
I'm the new State Farm agent. I took over for Patty Henley, so I started June 1st was my first day.
So now here you are, you're on television.
Yeah.
And you just moved to town.
Yeah.
What's your son's name?
His name is Russell Kane.
Russell Kane, such a great name. Of course, that's a family name, right?
Yeah, Russell is a family name. Kane was just something we bounced around, and it stuck.
Very good. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Dr. Barton, share with us a little bit about you and your family.
I'm married July 13th will be 50 years for my wife Ruthie and I, so we've been around for a while.
Yes, you have.
Knew each other for 5 years before that, so most of my lifetime. But anyway, we have 3 children. Oldest is Brian, he's 47. Middle son's 44, and my baby is now 42. So seems like yesterday that my baby was his baby's age. So it's time goes by fast. We now have 7 grandchildren, ages almost 15 to almost 5. So quite a brood around
Your
now.
quiver is full, like the Bible says. Is that right?
Quiver is full. It's been great. We're blessed. Having Jesus in your home is the most important thing.
Right.
And that's what we've tried to build our home around, and God's been good.
Amen. That's very evident. You know, and if you all don't know, I mean, Miss Ruthie, his wife, was my kindergarten room mom, and every time I see her, I always still light up. And when I see you guys, because I was actually in school with Dr. Brian Barden, your son, and so you all have always been special, and so I know that your foundation's been so strong. Yeah. So glad to have you here on the couch. Now, Owen, we talk about, when you become fathers for the first time, you don't have a manual, a to-do book. And so you talked about how your expectations were a little bit. What kind of influences of being a good dad, things that you've received that has helped you to be the father that you are and are yet becoming?
I think what I've kind of taken so far is just throw your expectations out the window. Honestly, just first time we went out as a family and took Kane out, I kept making the excuse to everyone we came in contact with that I'm a first-time dad.
Yes.
First-time dad, you know. I'm making mistakes. I'm a first-time dad.
Right.
And you know, everybody has a different way of parenting, like you said, and so now I'm over that and just go with the flow.
That's good. That's good. Dr. Barton, what have been some of your influences, and what type of dad would you say that you are?
Well, you know, if there's any good that came out of it, it's because of Jesus. But you know, I had a good influence. My father was a wonderful dad, and so that was a great influence on me. You know, as Owen just mentioned, he's first time dad, but you know, I was first time dad too, and I still am. You know,
how was that for you?
One thing that I found out over the years is you never stop being dad. You don't stop being daddy. And even though your baby's 42 years old, they still you know, relying on you for you know, info and you know, any advice that you might give. And you know, and like I say, I have been blessed. You know, our children have done well as far as following after the Lord, and also you know, and becoming husbands and fathers themselves, and a wife and mother. So we're proud of them in that respect, and feel very blessed that they have done that. But you know, we had to learn as we went too. It was you know, and then we made a lot of mistakes, you know, along the way. But you know, thankfully there's such thing as forgiveness, and
that's right.
And you pick out where you mess up and go on. You know,
that's right. You know, one thing I always say is, you know, parenting is the funnest, most hardest job you'll ever have, because it's something that, you know, we make that choice to be as parents, and you know, we decide what type parent that we want to be. And so, and I think that it's important as dads, you know, to have that good foundation, so that when these kids, when they do grow up, you'll see them, you know, become fathers themselves or mothers themselves, and so that makes it even more special. So Owen, speaking of special times, you're making those memories now with your family. Tell us about those special times.
Well, so far we have haven't been able to experience a lot, haven't gone, traveled, anything like that. Just really getting used to being a dad. And so I would say that our special times have just been being able to go out and enjoy the things that we took for granted, I guess. The hardest thing was adjusting timing. You know, he's got to be prepared to go out, and we have to fit around his schedule. We had a pretty memorable moment this past Sunday. I wouldn't say it's a special event, but kind of the unexpected, and there's no manual, just go with the flow kind of thing. We were in church, and he used the restroom, and he not only pooped through his clothes, but onto his dad.
Oh, so, nice. Nice. The gift that keeps on giving.
It does. But, you know, I don't think I'd ever want to be pooped on anybody else.
That's
just went with the flow, and enjoyed it. So we're enjoying those small things right
Do
now.
you see how your life is changing, like things that you valued and things that you considered, now being a dad and having that responsibility, that changes you, doesn't it?
It surely does, I didn't know what to expect. You know, I had a good father figure in my life, and my father always paved the way and made sure that we were provided for, and really what I'm just trying to do for him. But every little thing. I mean, the way he smiles and talks at you, it just about make me cry every time he coos at me. So
it softens you up a little, doesn't it?
It does, for sure.
Lose a few cool points.
You know, touch on the emotional side.
Yes, it does, and I think that's a good thing. Dr. Barden, you know, at the age of your children are now, you have to find different ways now to really make that time that you spend with them, because it's kind of few and far between now that they're going their path. What special times do you recall that bonding time that you've had with the kids, and what do you do now?
Well, you know, in the past, we did enjoy doing things together. We tried to stay involved with them through their school years, playing sports and various other things. And I don't think we missed very few games if we missed any, you know. And so we tried to do that. I coached both boys in recreation for several years, and my daughter also in softball, and so we were involved with them in that respect. As we've gotten older, as they've got families of their own, none of them live here in town, and so it becomes very difficult to get together and have a whole family relationship. So we're having to spend. A lot of times it's having to be just individual, one-on-one family, you know, to enjoy times together, and we still go into ball games because grandchildren are involved now, and various other you know, things, gymnastics and all these kind of things that and just to be together. We are trying to get together for our 50th. Get together, and that's become very difficult because everybody's involved, and our daughter's moving back to Georgia, so that's you know, they're in transition, and so but we just have to find time that you know, we can spend a little bit of time together, and we try to do it maybe at least once a year to get the whole family together, and enjoy that time of fellowship. But we had fun. As they grew up, you know, we tried to spend every day. We tried to, you know, have a time after supper at night that we either read something out of the Word of God, or we read biographies of Christian people, you know, and you know, these meant a lot. We just had a lot. You know, had to try to squeeze in some family time. You have to really work at it because it's difficult. You know, and it gets more difficult.
You're right, and I see Owen's. You know, he's listening to you because you know, he's like, wow, that's going to be me. You know, as the kids go older and you have more kids, you know, that time is just so important. So we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back, and we'll be speaking with the dads on some different other topics that we want to make sure that we share. Back in a moment.
Badcock Home Furniture and More is your home store, where you'll find great savings on new living room sets, sofas, love seats, recliners, and more. Badcock Home Furniture and More has great savings every day on bedding and bedroom sets. Shop Badcock Home Furniture and More for a great selection of dining room sets, and save every day on electronics and appliances at Badcock Home Furniture and More, 1927 Highway 441 South in Dublin. Call 275-3144 for more information, or stop by and see Wendy and Tim Sumner or any of their friendly staff today at Badcock and More Home Furniture Store, where no credit is ever refused.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're having such a great conversation speaking to the dads about being a new dad and a very seasoned dad. And we kind of ended a bit about talking about time, how important time is. And, you know, with a family, I mean, we have to have careers. And so with you working in insurance, you know, how do you balance that family time to be able to make sure that you're giving your family what they need? And Dr. Barden, when we talked with you about how you had to balance so much, you know, in your profession, to make sure that you ensured that your family was not being neglected in that way?
Well, I mean, I've learned quickly that time passes, and every day he grows and is doing something new, and you don't want to miss it. But that's actually really why I do what I do. State Farm is a very family-oriented company, and they make sure that you have the time and the resources to spend with your family. That's the most important thing to me. And so far, I just opened Friday. The last 6 months, especially since he's been born, I've been very flexible with a lot of training. But they come up to my office frequently and hang out and meet customers and
that's good.
And all sorts of things.
Bringing them in the business.
Yeah, it's definitely a family.
Yeah.
It's a family thing.
It's going to be a while before you're able to go on a date night, right?
I don't know that. I think our date nights may be over. Not because of him, but my wife wants him there. He's very attached to his mother.
Of course, and I think with nursing mothers, which is, I was a nursing mother as well, there is that attachment, because I think with moms, it's a very wonderful time. It's a special time for us to bond with our children. And, it's like but at the same time, though, there'll be a time when you'll be able to ease off just a little bit to still be able to connect as a couple, because we also don't want to neglect that part of our relationships, because we have to have strong relationships too. And I know how kids are.
Sure.
We got it. Dr. Barden, how did you balance everything to make sure that your cheerleader, your girlfriend over here, Miss Ruthie, and the kids were able to still have that time with you, with your career as well?
Well, as Owen said, it is difficult, and we have to, you have to, there again, be guided by the Lord in all that you do. But we did try to have some times, off together. And yet, and I rearranged a lot of schedules, or I had my receptionist do a lot of, she had to do a lot of changing sometimes, juggling schedules sometimes to. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes I was coaching two ball teams at the same time. I don't really know how I did it. We're looking back sometimes, because of course when you get my age, well, you don't do anything quite as fast as you used to. But anyway, it does take some concentrated effort, because as you mentioned, when you get the children do get out of the home and married and on their own. They, your first love is still your sweetheart, your wife.
That's right.
And if you don't keep that relationship strong, then sometimes things don't work out as well. And so we've always tried to maintain that relationship with each other. So,
absolutely.
but it takes some doing sometimes.
It does. It takes some maneuvering and some great receptionists, right?
Well, that's right. It's a great staff. I was blessed, and in my occupation, it was in the dental field. I was able to, it was flexible enough that I could change, and I had some great patients that would work with me too. So that's always,
always good.
It's been good.
Very good. And we really want to encourage fathers out there, because with Father's Day coming up, there are a lot of fathers who no longer have, a lot of people who no longer have their dad. Like mine passed away when I was 19 years old. And there are some fathers who struggle with fatherhood. And we want you guys to kind of encourage some of the fathers. What values do you think are important, Owen, in being a good dad?
I think Dr. Barton spoke on it. Having God in your household is, I think, is the most important thing, and loving your child as he loves us. Mm-hmm. I really think that was what benefited me the most growing up, was a focal point on my relationship with God, and my family influencing me that way. So I think really that's just the most important thing in making sure that your family feels loved and important.
What do you love most about being a dad?
I like the way who it makes me. I don't think I was a bad person before. Yeah. But I enjoy it. It gives me a even bigger purpose in life, and I always constantly have to watch what I do and say, and because right now he's probably not picking up on those things yet, but it'll be there quicker than you know it. And so, and to it, I'm striving to be the best for him and for my wife too, and so we can be one big happy family.
That's right. That's right. Now, you think you're going to expand that family eventually? Too soon? Too soon? Too soon.
Right after labor, I would have said no. Her parents would probably encourage us to say about 4 more.
About 4 more.
Yeah,
I got
about 4 more. But
you're still young.
Still young. Maybe when he gets out of diapers. So we'll see how well we do with.
You're taking different steps right here.
Yeah, sure.
And what do you look forward to as he gets older, when he's able to converse with you? We always kind of have things in our mind as far as visions of seeing our kids at a certain stage. What do you look forward to with the relationship that you have with Cain?
I mean, I have, in pictured things that maybe he'll be my hunting and fishing buddy.
Right.
But he may not like that. And now I just want him to do whatever he loves to do. But I want to be his best friend. I mean, I really do.
Wow.
I enjoyed those times that I got to spend with my dad growing up and doing those things that we enjoyed together.
Yeah.
And I want to do that with him. And if maybe it's not something that I chose to do when I was growing up, something, a new path, then be right there with him and support him. And like I said, just really be best friends with him.
That's sweet.
Well,
You're
thank
about
you.
to make me cry, Owen. We're going to take
goal.
a break.
That's the goal.
We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment.
A lot of the other companies were putting business ahead of the patient. And the main thing that we wanted to be a part of was to make sure that Integrity Hospice, that we were constantly putting the patient first.
They're there for you. They're there for the patients. And they want to do what's in the best interest of everybody concerned.
We provide a lot of services for both the emotional and spiritual needs for these patients.
I strongly recommend Integrity Hospice and everything that they represent.
Just listening to you talking about your son, it's really beautiful. And I think that it's coming from a pure heart and a transparency of wanting to be a good dad and wanting him to value things in you and to see the goodness in you, to want to emulate that one day, and that's really special. Dr. Barden, share with us what qualities that you have that make you such a good dad. Because, I mean, I've always known you from the outside looking in to be a good dad, and from what I would say, I remember I think it was either kindergarten or first grade, and Brian came to school with this cool lunchbox. And I remember, like, he had the best food and the best snacks. I said, man, you got the best parents ever. So I just know it from his lunchbox.
We probably still got that lunchbox.
You share with us from your heart about the qualities that you possess that are seen as being a good father to your kids.
Well, you're very kind in your compliments, but as I've said before, I think we just have to learn, and Owen has mentioned, just love it, learn to love the child, love your children, and to care for them. Be willing to admit when I can remember with Brian one time, I got upset with him for I don't even know what I got upset with him, but when I snatched him up and spanked him, and we still believed in the rod with our children,
do too.
and I believe that's according to Scripture. But anyway, and I knew I had done it in anger, and I had done it as a mistake, and it was not the way I should have acted.
Right.
And actually, I think we were on our way to church when I did that. But I realized, and I just went to him and just knelt down. At that time, he was shorter than me. Of course, now he's much taller than me. But I just asked him to forgive me, for acting, and out of anger to him, and I think that. As a father, and as a parent, we have to be willing to admit our mistakes, be willing to ask for forgiveness, be willing to, we were just talking in our church just recently, or Sunday school class, about, people, react on how we live our lives rather than what we say, and we just tell our children something. I always found that to be the case with working and doing work, jobs around the house. I could tell them to do something, but I found out that they did it a lot better if I worked with them. As we worked together, they would work like Trojans. They were good to work and do jobs. And could outwork me a lot of times. In the things that we were doing. But we built fence. We did, the yard work. We did, some things around the house, and just and as we were working together, it was, you know, it just seemed to be much better than me just saying, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you know, and so, you know, just I think just caring about individuals and loving them, you know, they're people too, you know.
That's right.
So
and just being sensitive to the fact that, you know, I think that as parents it's important for us to be able to say I'm sorry to our children, because I don't think that we always have it right, and I think that we kind of sometimes we learn as we go, you know. And the hands-on as far as working with your kids and them seeing you actively doing it, that encouraged them to do so as well. And I think that has definitely influenced their work ethic, would you say?
Well, they seem to be hard workers anyway.
Yes. What are your kids doing now? Let everyone know it.
All right. My oldest, Brian, is a general surgeon. He lives in Carrollton, Georgia, and practices there. And my son, middle son, Bruce, he's a mechanical engineer. He really doesn't do the mechanical engineering work so much. He works with a wireless phone company and been with them since he graduated from Georgia Tech, and which has been, 22 years ago.
Wow.
But you know, those years bound up. But and then Betsy is the only one that stayed in the dental field a little bit. She's a dental hygienist and still works 2 to 3 days a week generally, and then so she's stayed in that field, and she's a hard worker. They're all hard workers. They're you know, and they do have a good work ethic. They know how to work. So.
And you know, and I think that has a lot to do with you know, the home environment, the relationship that they've had with you all, the things that you've instilled within them from when they were wee ones, and now you see that manifest. And so, of course, I'm at the stage now. We've got one more that's getting ready to go off to college in August, and then, you know, we'll be empty nesters. And Owen, you've got a ways to go. You've got a ways to go. And so we just want to thank you too for coming to the studio today and kind of sharing with us about your families and sharing with us about the secret to your fatherhood, the things that you're learning as you grow. And then, of course, Dr. Barden, seeing things through your grandchildren and having that relationship from through the years. And so we're going to close out the show, but Owen, we'll let you give a message to all fathers out there with Father's Day coming up, and any message from your heart that you'd like to share with dads.
Sure. Coming as a new father, like Pat said, there's no manual, there's no right way, there's no wrong way to do it. It's just about being there, being present, and I would encourage you to, you know, really listen to your child and be able to apologize when you've done wrong, and work with them, and not command, be a leader and not a boss. I think that's what I learned the most, and what I plan to try to implement with Kane.
Very good.
Happy Father's Day.
Wonderful. Dr. Barton?
Pat, thank you for allowing us to be on. I would say, in your benefit, you've done a good job with your child.
Thank you.
Talk about work ethic. She's done remarkable and had a great career in the soccer area.
Thank you so much.
But anyway, you know, I think, you know, as I mentioned earlier, the key is letting Jesus be Lord of your home and Lord of your life, and seeking after God's ways, and trying to live. You know, Paul said in his epistle, said, you know, imitate me as I imitate Christ, and you know, and hopefully, you know, I can say that. You know, like I say, you know, I'm certainly not perfect by a long shot, and without Christ in my life, I would be nothing. But you know, that's been the most important thing in our lives, and hopefully we'll carry on to my generations that follow me.
That's right. That's right.
And thankfully, our grands seem to be following in that in that mode, and we're so happy for that.
Thank you.
So, thank you for.
Thank you so much. The legacies you're leaving behind.
Yeah. Thank the Lord.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have today. It's been really special having Owen with us and Dr. Barden to share about their fatherhood experiences. We want to wish a special happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Thank you so much for how you pour into your families, the sacrifices that you make, and that you continue to make for us. That's all the time we have for Real Talk here on TV 35. And please keep watching.